Hello everyone, welcome back to Marion's World. I've got the finish of the Viola page today, and at the end of the video there'll be the winner announced of the 1000 subscriber giveaway. Good luck to everyone, enjoy the page. I'm about to finish my Wild Pansy page, and I've had a great big tidy up and reorganisation over this last weekend, and so I've now got all of my threads, well a lot of them, all put into the lid of this old wooden cutlery canteen because I thought they looked nicer there than in a plastic box. So I'm hoping it's going to work. I've just made little cardboard things in there to keep them separated, and I've got some wooden bobbins coming because I've got so many threads that still need winding. But I'm pleased that it's actually looking quite nice for me to be able to go and just pick the relevant colour, because they were in 3 different boxes before. So that's hopefully working well. I found some wire while I was tidying out. These were actually my Sugarcraft boxes, which for some reason the Sugarcraft was in my paint cupboard. I've got some nice fabric to choose to do the leaves. I'm having to use a smaller hoop this time because my chair hoop, which I'll show you later, is just far too large for the scraps of fabric I've got. And I found this bit of fabric, which I think is a good colour, but it's also got this lovely pattern on it. So I thought by drawing on my leaves and using the pattern, that could create the veins for the leaf, because I'm doing this, it's still stump work, it's just a slightly different, easier sort of a technique, because I'm already using fabric that's the right colour for what I'm after. I've got a really nice mossy green colour, but I've put 3 strands of thread into the needle. As before, I'm starting right on the point of the leaf. You need to work each side of the leaf down towards the stem end, and as before I'm just going to catch it through with one little loop right on the apex of the leaf. I'm going to come up just about 1/4 of an inch or so down on my drawn on line, and I've just drawn that on with a permanent fine pen just so it can show up for you, because the pencil line wouldn't show on the camera. So I'm going to go down this side of the leaf, always coming up on my line, over the wire and down on my line. So I'm nearly down to this side at the bottom. I'll just bend that wire in. So I want the wire to go where I want it to go. I'll just hold it there. Put one right in at the stem end of the leaf. And go and start back down the other side. It's always easier than trying to work up the other side. And you definitely get a better shape with your wire by starting at the apex of the leaf. Just going to bend that in a little bit. I want the leaf shape to be taking a good start. And now I'm ready to do my blanket stitch. And I will just go down inside the wire, come up outside the wire and pull it neat. And this time I'm not going to be embroidering inside here. I'm going to let the colour of the fabric and that pretty little sprig do the embroidery for me, really. So I'm going to make this outside edge as neat as I possibly can. So I want the stitches to be absolutely up together, but I don't want them to be crowded. I don't want to see any wire at all, because there will be no more embroidery coming over it. See if I can hold it right the way up. So I'm coming down inside the wire, just holding my loop, coming up outside the wire and making a really nice edge that goes along the outside. I might just go and fix my magnifier up. Apart from anything, I think the light probably will show everything up nicely, so I think I'll carry on, but I'm going to go and fix my magnifier up. Actually, I hope that's better for you, because it's definitely better for me. So I'm now looking through my magnifier with the light on. I actually don't need glasses for my day-to-day life. And when I went earlier this year to get my eyes checked, because I knew that I couldn't see to do the embroidery so much, the optician lady said, "There's nothing wrong with your eyes." And I explained that I did need help because I did quite fine work, and sometimes I couldn't see to thread the needle anymore, and I couldn't see to do the really fine knitting and things like that, and the embroidery. And she said, "Oh well, there's nothing we can do about that." It's just, I don't think she really understood what I was on about. So anyway, I was using a magnifier that hung around my chest, hung around my neck, and it made a difference. And then I went and got some reading glasses from the local pharmacy, where they sometimes have generic reading glasses. I thought I'll just see if they make a difference, and they did. But then if I was sitting on an evening doing my work, it made watching the TV hard to do, because it wasn't, I couldn't look over the top of them or anything. So because the chest magnifier was working quite well, I thought I'd try and get a magnifier I could sit at. And the one I've got that I use now, it's on a floor stand, and it actually has a clamp for my embroidery hoop too, so I don't even have to hold the hoop when I'm working on the clamp as well. But I haven't just worked out how to set that up with the camera at the moment. So, but I think it looks like it's working better for the video at the moment. So I'll probably try and remember to put the magnifier and the light on, because the light's probably helping to make everything clearer. Anyway, that's coming on really nicely. I can see a little bit of the wire, but it's gilt, it's not going to be a problem. I'm nearly out of this run of thread, so I'll finish this one off. I've finished those 3 leaves now, and I've also cut out some others from a bit of the wool and a bit of the silk. So they're going to come off the hoop. I'm going to cut them out, and I'm just going to cut in from here. Again, roughly cut out first, as you need to be careful, so it's no point trying to do it really good from the beginning. And now it's just a matter of, exactly like I did before, going in really tight, really careful, up to the ridge of the blanket stitch with your tiniest pointed scissors. Really, the idea is to go around on the front side first, like that, and then turn it over, and can you see the ridge of white, or the back of the fabric? This is when you go in with your scissors on the side and super careful, cut that fabric right back, and then you won't see it on the front. Well, you'll not see it so much anyway. When the whole thing's together, you really just won't see it. So just go snipping as carefully as you can. And you take that fabric right back in, like that. And then when you look from the front side, you can't see any of the other fabric poking through. Final bit of clipping. And so it's not a matter of that's, oh, it's a quicker, better way than doing the embroidery. It's a case of there's lots of different techniques you can use, and use ever one, like I use whichever I fancy doing at the time. So I think that's a really nice way of doing what's called a slip in stump work. Technical details. So they're all slips, but I feel that for the flower particularly, I definitely wanted to do the thread painting. But for the leaves, I didn't need to do that, and they look just as beautiful. So the dot is where my pansy head's going to be. I've drawn myself a bit of a line to embroider to. So I'm going to embroider this stem here, and what I'd like to do is do it in raised stem stitch, just like that. So I'm coming either side of my drawn line, and you'll find that you won't pull it very tight particularly. Well, because this is one of my bonded pieces of fabric, so I'm not going to crumple the fabric up because it's got a bit of a stiffness that the bonder web has given it. So I'm just going to, in fact I can just do it in one go. I can just come up there, it's even easier. And I suppose my stitch width is probably about a couple of mils, maybe 1/8 of an inch or something. I don't want a huge thick stem, but I do want it to have, I don't want it just to be a drawn line, or I don't want it just to be a running stitch or a back stitch line. I want it to be more than that. So I come right up to the top of the head. This will be hidden under the petals, but that's okay. I'm going to go down on the last ladder, come up straight away, just a little bit past that, and now I'm going to do the stem stitch. And I'm going to do it by, I'm going to hold my thread to the right every time because I'm obviously working left-handed, and I'm just going to come up through the ladder. I'm not going through the material at all, and I'm not going to pull it tight. So I just work down the ladder, pulling it nicely. I don't want to be leaving great big loops, but I don't want to crush my fabric either. You'll find that it's quite easy and that your needle just slips under that little step of the ladder without any problem. So not going through the fabric at all, just work down the ladder. The thing with raised stem stitch is it really should be worked in the same direction every time. So when I get down to the bottom, I actually need to finish that off. So there's the first line laid in, and it looks a bit wavy, but it won't be when it's finished. So I'm just going to put that through and knot that off. Back up to the top, and I'm going to work another line down. And this time I'm still keeping my thread to the right, but you need to know that you are going in to the, for me, to the left of the stitch you've already made, so to the right if you're right-handed. And make sure that your needle is going through the ladder, that your thread is always kept to the same side all the way down, and that you are not going through the stem stitch of your previous line. And you can see that starts to thicken that stem up. And really you put in more lines than you think that your little ladder can take. and it starts to round the stem off and make it look quite rounded. So I'm on a double thread of this thread, and this is not a stranded cotton. This is, well, it's just a nice thread, but it's not a stranded thread, but I've doubled it up. So again, I'm right down to the bottom, and I need to go through to the back and finish that off. Even though I'm going straight down there, I still put a little step there at the end because it helps to keep your threads in tight. So now I think maybe 3 goes down is enough. So I'm really happy with that. I can actually feel it's shaded dark to the left and light, but that's just the accident of the thread really. So I'm not going to break my thread. I've got another stem coming up here. So I'm actually going to do, should I chain stitch it, or I think I'll chain stitch it because I want it thicker than and not just one thread. So I'm going to chain stitch up this stem. Sometimes I come downwards, just depends how you want to work. So I'm just going through the loop and about I don't know, about 4 mils, 1/4 of an inch, and I've already drawn a little line on with a pencil just to give myself an idea. So this is now where it's all going to start coming together. I'll make a hole with my needle first, just to help it through, and I'm going to get this petal in those holes, both of the wires. Sometimes it's a bit fiddly, but once you get them going, so there's petal number 1 going in. I'm going to put them in the same hole. I'm just going to open the hole up a bit with I'll open it with you don't want a great big hole, and don't worry about what the wires are doing on the back at the minute. That gets sorted out once we've got the composition going. We might not need all these length of wires either, but you have to start somewhere. So poke them in they go. That's 2. I'm going to put a new hole for the side wires, and another here. In fact, I think I can go in the same hole for that one. I've never had to do this on camera. I would normally have it on my knee or something like that so I could arrange everything, but I think I'm managing. 1 wire, 2 wires, and it goes. Bend it down. Oh, starting to look nice. Okay, actually looking pretty. There's a bit to do yet, so I'm going to hold it there. I'm really happy with that. Obviously they're on wires. I can alter the wires. I can make it look the way I want to. The important thing is to turn it over and deal with the wires. So I can twist them now. I don't know where that thread's come from. Just leave it for the minute. I can twist these wires in. I can actually shorten them if I want, but at the minute I'm just going to twist them, I think. Actually, if it wasn't going to be a book with a double page, I probably would grade these wires off, but I'm not particularly concerned at the minute. I just need them to be couched. So I'm going to start under the ladder from the stems, the raised stem stitch. And I'm just going to, should have done a loop, I think. Actually, I am going to do a loop. And I'm going to come under the wires, under the ladder of the stem stitch, and I'm going to go back through that loop. Okay, so now I'm started. and I'm just going to couch these wires down through the back of my stem stitch ladder. I'm going to catch that little bit of thread in as well. I'm not quite sure where that's come from. Maybe I didn't pull my knot through properly. And make sure that they're really secure. I don't want them to move. I want to be able to move the petals if I want, without having to worry about what the wires are doing on the back. Gets those end wires in. And where am I? Am I near to my? I'm very near to where my other piece has to go. So we're not totally arranged yet, but now I can start and be arranged. And these can, I've got a little bit of work to do on there yet, because I did a little bit of a drawing of how I wanted my composition to be. So I'm going to take a little stem up here and put 3 leaves and possibly a bud. So to do that, I'm going to take this leaf to be there, and so I'm going to poke his wires through. And this time I don't actually want the wire to go right up to there, because I want a stem. And so what I'm actually going to do is I am going to overcast this wire onto the page. So I'm not even going to bother that it's gone the other way around, because I can turn it. So I'm just going to take a little overcast stitch and just bend the wire so I can do it. So I'm going to overcast this wire on to the page, nice and tight together without bunching. And once I get to the base of the leaf, I'm going to go into the background. I'm going to nestle those wires right the way down into there. I'll couch them down again down the back of the stem in a minute, but while I've still got my thread on here, I'm going to put the next couple of leaves in. So from there I need to come up with a little bit of a stem, just do a little bit of stem stitch, and I'll pick one of my cut out leaves and do that one maybe, and I'm just going to running stitch that on. I did want another leaf on there, going to put it there. So I've got two leaves on and couched down at the back, and so I'm in the midst of putting this one on. And actually I overcast that leaf because I wanted it to be totally attached. This one I actually wanted to have a bit of a stem, and so I'm going to start on the back of the leaf by threading through there. I have got a knot on it because I feel that's the only way I can do it. I'm going to just pull that knot down, and I'm going to try and blanket stitch on this bit of stem. In fact, I'll pull it out so that I can blanket stitch it down, because I want to cover the wire. So I'm actually just going to do a very quick sort of a blanket stitch going down here. I'm just covering that stem in. I don't need it to be too long, but I do want it to have a stem. Actually, I don't know how to hold it. There, I should have done it first before I poked it through maybe. That's, my needle's going to go through to the back. And I'm going to couch that one down onto the back, like the other ones. So now that leaf can so always hold your wires though, don't just try and waggle everything about. So that stem can come over now and sort of hook down like that. It's actually got a little stem. You can see it's starting to actually make something. So the next bit I wanted to do is put the little bud here, and I think I am going to use a little bit of this purple wool, and I think I'm just going to cut a bit off. The colour's decent enough for what I need. I want a bud sort of like that. I'm just going to use the same green thread, I think, and then once it's on the page I'll overstitch how I would like it to be. I'm going to just do 2 single French knots. Don't even think I'm going to wrap the thread round twice because it's so thick, and I want it to look like a proper little hole, if you know what I mean. Proper little knot. Just going to take it round once and straight back down. Well, I'm finished my embroidery and I'm really pleased with it. You can, once everything's couched down on the reverse, these can all be moved according to where you might want to put them. So I'm quite pleased that this one's able to bend where I would like it to be, and there's all sorts that I can do. This pansy, I've bent the petals already. I've given a bit of a curve there, and so you can see that it looks really proud of the page. So I can't actually finish this page anymore. My next job really would have been to bond the page and do my edging stitches, but I can't do that yet because this page is next and I would like to do the embroidery on there first. But what I can do is do my writing. So I've put it back in the book so that I'm not going to write too far. And what I'm going to do is just give it its Latin name and then some common names that I know, which I thought would be nice to put on. So I'm going to start off with the Latin name. It doesn't spread, I don't think it will. So I'm just going to write on here, oh no, that's going to be fine. Viola, tricolor, and then I'm also going to put its other names. So I'm going to put down here, I'm going to put Heartsease, which side, and there's also Johnny Jump Up, and there's 1 or 2, but I think I'll put, I wonder whether I should put them sort of a bit more creatively. Actually, I think I'm just going to, I think I'm going to put Heartsease here. Do it like that. And I'll put Loving Idleness, that's what I'll do next. I nearly did my E the way I wasn't doing it. Love and Idleness, Partsies, Viola Tricolor. I'll just put Wild Pansy. Oh, nearly went wrong there. I just got there to the end of the page. I have to look one up. I don't know anything short that can go in there. I'll look it up. Well, I ended up making a bit of a mistake because I looked all over for a short, oh, I've got a hair on there, for a short name for Viola, and they were all really long. There was Johnny Jump Up and Come Quick and Get Me and Mother and Father and all sorts of things. But in the end, there was nothing I could find that would just fit into that little piece. And so what I've ended up doing, I've embroidered an extra little bud, and it makes three flowers, which is probably a better composition, but it just shows you nothing's the end of the world. I nearly just covered the whole thing up with an extra strip of bonded fabric, but I decided I wanted the extra little bud instead. So I'm really pleased with this one. The little pansy standing right out from the fabric, which is beautiful. I like my leaves sitting here. I did wonder about doing something else there, but at the moment I'm going to leave it until the actual page is put together, and I can't do that until I've embroidered that one, and then I bond them together. I'll do my outside edge, and then, but somewhere about that I'll decide whether I need to put another little piece in there. Could be writing, could be embroidery. On to the next one. Well, I'm about to pick the winner of my 1000 subscriber draw. So I found this, or I did a bit of research, and this is a YouTube comment picker. And so I have to go onto my videos and copy the link of that video and come back onto here and paste that link in, and then I think as soon as I pick a winner, it's going to pick a winner. So I'm just waiting for it to get exactly onto 5 o'clock, and then any second now we're going to find out who has been the winner. Okay, 5 o'clock. I feel excited just having to press this button. Oh, include replies to comment, filter duplicate names. I do that, sorry, we don't want duplicates. Filter comments, I don't know what that means. Pick a winner. Oh, I'm not a robot. Has it picked one? Oh my goodness, it's picked one. Suzanne Davies. 1000 subscribers in 2 months is amazing, but not surprising. I found your channel. Well, Suzanne Davies, you're the winner. So I will be going on to your comment to see if you specified whether you like the dragon or the green man. But if you're seeing this, please send me a comment, and I'll have to find out how I can get your address so that I can send you your choice of design on the tote bag. Well done, Suzanne. Well done, Suzanne. That's the first time I've ever done a draw, and I was very nervous about just pressing that button. But Suzanne, just make a comment and we'll get in touch with each other and find out what you would like to have on your bag, and I will do whichever design you'd like me to paint. So without nothing else to say really, except thank you for all your comments. Really appreciated it. And I've got two people to say special thank you to, Angela and Rachel, who used the super thanks. So really thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And yeah, the whole channel is looking so good and it's growing steadily, and it just amazes me every time. So thank you to everyone. Subscribe if you'd like to see more of what's going on, and I'm not quite sure what my new pages are going to be. I shall decide that over the weekend, and you will see them when I post the next video. Bye from Maureen's World, everybody. Thank you.